Hello, my beloved ones. My name is Algimantas. I live in a small country which is called Lithuania. This country has a small population under 3 million, and it is in Eastern Europe at the Baltic Sea. If you talk with people sincerely, they will arrive at the confession that they are dissatisfied with a lot of things in their personal living, be it their job or their relationships with parents, with children, with their friends, or even if they are school students, with teachers, with their situation in their career. So in a way, the absolute majority of humanity is undergoing this dissatisfaction experience permanently. It is very hard for them to go to their job which is unattractive to them, which is not bringing them pleasure and satisfaction. So in this case, they are always in a permanent stress and even tension in their subconsciousness and consciousness. And all this dissatisfaction wears people's energy, and very quickly this permanent state of dissatisfaction requires some rest, some moments of peace. And once they are reaching the very top, the very verge, the very edge of their tense living or working or dealing with other people, they might burst out with anger, with irritation. This is a critical moment for their behavior, but what is more important, that their subconsciousness and consciousness is filled with very low frequency vibrations, with this energy that has been delivered from Creator Himself, who is the source and center of top frequency energy vibrations and love. So all these vibrations have been transformed into low frequency vibrations that show the consequence of that person's inner state of mind by this anger outburst. And this sort of tension is being permanently experienced by that person's living body. And then all of a sudden he realizes he has some ailment, and he goes to his doctor, trying just to find out what's wrong with him, without even paying attention that it is his dissatisfaction with absolutely all fields of his existence is the real cause of this dire situation for his material body. So how to transform, how to turn dissatisfaction into satisfaction, into pleasure, so that we would be able to experience permanently instead of this dissatisfaction. If you realize how hard is man's existence when he is in this dire condition of dissatisfaction, starting with his childhood, when kids begin to lose their contact with their parents, especially as teenagers, when teenager friends begin to play a more important role than the parents of the teenager child. And still, tension is not leaving their mind even while dealing with their friends, because there are some leaders within a group, and these leaders dictate their conditions. Their demanding approach and behavior to those who are in the group causes those who are weaker dissatisfaction, because they are being suppressed and even exploited by those who are stronger, who are physically built up much stronger than those weaker ones. And people are dissatisfied with the way their bodies look. It is an enormous stress to man's or woman's mind, especially at a young age, when any remark fired at this or that teenager by their friends or classmates might wound their hearts, and actually do wound their hearts very easily and very severely. So in this case, it is responsibility of the parents to help their children restore peace, bliss, and satisfaction of their little kids, so that they would begin to feel that life is wonderful, meaningful, and it is necessary to use this life for the better, for the embedment of or improving living for the majority of us, for others. So parents should be always in a permanent communion with the Creator, whom they should discover within. Because if they discover Creator within, they would know how to assist, how to help their children, so that they would be satisfied with both their friends, their teachers, their school, or if something goes wrong in their relationships, they would not be in a critical and tense situation, because they would know how to deal together with Creator in this hard span of time, in this very difficult for them period. And every person, no matter his physical age, is a spiritual personality which is eternal and bestowed upon us by Creator. So if you open up this spiritual personality within this body, the personality would begin to express satisfaction at awakening to a living communion with its source and center, with Creator, because it is Creator who has bestowed our spiritual eternal personality upon each of us. Therefore, satisfaction is coming from the source and center of happiness and love, that is Creator. Otherwise, it is impossible to be satisfied with one's work if one has not discovered the personality, source and center, creator. Just for a very short time, a person might be satisfied when he achieves some very positive outcome of his work. If he has been, well, praised by his colleagues. So this moment of happiness and joy brings him satisfaction. But it is not this true and permanent state of consciousness and subconsciousness satisfaction with what he's doing. And no matter what he's doing, he is satisfied with the condition, with the environment, and with himself. He would not blame him if something before discovering creator within was dissatisfying him or her the way his body or her body looks like. Quite many teenagers are unhappy about their appearances. There are very few, and even too few, who are being praised by their friends that they are attractive, physically attractive. But all the same, it is impossible to have this body all the time in the same condition, because the body experiences first growth and then turning older. And by being old, it has lost all its attractiveness, which was so appealing in the young age. And people do not care for their spiritual personalities, which are indwelling this material form. Therefore, they are not taking much attention to what are the values which are exposed and professed by this or that person. People evaluate other people by their appearances, whether or not they are fashionable, modern, what are their clothes, if they correspond to the trend, if they do not correspond to dictated by a small group of people fashions. These people would be considered by their friends as outcasts. They would not desire to communicate with them, nothing speaking about a closer association. But it's a wrong approach to man's living, to man's essence, because our essence is our living, following Creator's leading from within. Because it is only in this and the only way that we would be leading a meaningful living, and we would be feeling an ever greater satisfaction. And no matter what conditions might be for us around us, they might be very tense conditions, all the same, we would begin to feel satisfaction that we might open up to Creator and receive peace and bliss from Him, just to deal with the challenges in this very difficult situation. And this situation is given for us to accumulate a certain experience for building up our character, which is a process, a very long process, a permanent process, and which is actually our evolution. So in this case, it is impossible to be in a state of mind which is permanently dissatisfied with its environment, satisfied with its relationships with other minds, and with what this mind is doing while it is functioning at its best. That is why without Creator, it is impossible to feel true satisfaction all the time and everywhere. So that's why the priority of parents, their primary duty in their behavior and dealing with their children, just to reflect Creator by the parents' behavior, by the parents' living. If you take a deeper scrutiny at how parents deal with their children, you will come to a general conclusion. There is no love, Creator's love, in this association. They are too often use their raised voices, even shouting at their children. And this shouting has come almost to a normal way of talking with their children. Parents do not even notice that they are shouting, and children stop paying attention to this shouting because it has turned into a standard environment in having their relationships within a family. And this is abnormal because every shouting expresses low energy vibrations that have been accumulated by this person. So if you even explain to others that you didn't mean anything wrong and bad, that was simply your state of mind, that you used this exclamatory voice, all the same, the cause would be the only one: low frequency vibrations within your mind. And the central nervous system is operating in a tense situation, in a tense condition. And that is against Creator's will. Because Creator has designed evolution, it be carried out in satisfaction, in peace and tranquility. If there is some tense moment, it testifies to a critical situation. It testifies to the fact something's wrong in this ambience. It also gives evidence that Creator's will has been violated by those who are within this ambience and operating by doing their certain functions. That is why we should always keep in mind, no psychologist, no psychiatrist, no teacher would tell you the truth unless this psychologist, this psychiatrist, this teacher, has discovered Creator within and is feeling Creator is leading from within so that he would speak out a living word from Creator himself in trying to heal any wrongdoing, any broken, smooth process of evolution within a certain patient or student or friend. That is why evolution is meant by Creator, that we would feel satisfaction all the time. And once we begin to experience our living communion with Creator, this satisfaction turns into our permanent state of mind, permanent state of our consciousness and subconsciousness. And all of a sudden, you would come to understanding that your dreams at night while you're asleep have totally disappeared. So that you would not see any nightmares in your dreams, but that all dreams have vanished altogether. Peace reigns within your subconsciousness. And in this inner condition of your mind, of your subconsciousness and consciousness, once the consciousness is disconnected while you're asleep, Creator's spirit, which is called a thought adjuster, is passing you revelations from Creator. How you should treat every situation, how you should deal with your problems, how you should follow Creator as well, how you should deal with your friends, and what has to be your living communion with Creator himself. He is teaching us to be a true son or daughter of Creator. And that is a normal, a standard approach of Creator, our father and mother, to his children, that his children would always be satisfied, that dissatisfaction would melt in Creator's love. And this is a true reality. Otherwise, you would be living in illusion. Dissatisfaction is nothing else but illusion. It shows that your mind is dominated by low frequency vibrations. Therefore, you have to raise them, but you have to have a spiritual teacher who would be assisting you in finding the clue to satisfaction. And you should always know that Creator's Spirit, Thought Adjuster, is operating so actively, and in addition to that, so perfectly, as it is a particle of the source and center of perfection. So his operation within your mind is perfect. Just open up to Creator by your sincere and living word, by your sincere confession. What causes you, according to your understanding, satisfaction in any situation? And you will be able to feel how Creator, your mother and father, cares for you, how He loves you, how He soothes soothes your heart. And all this is a true experience for you to begin to feel satisfaction. To exist in dissatisfaction, it's abnormal. To exist without Creator's light and love is abnormal. It is just a norm, a standard to live in Creator's love and peace and satisfaction.